Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Jessie and this is my dragon eye tutorial part 1. I say part 1 because the second part is going to be painting the actual clay sculpture. But you'll notice I'm using those rocks that people use in their fish tanks. You can get a whole bag of them at the dollar store for $1. And I'm taking some acrylic paint and I'm painting the pupil in the middle of the eye. Is it still the pupil if it's that shape? I guess so. Just in black. Set that aside to dry. Now it's dry, voila. And I go ahead and I take some white paint and I am just going to go on either side of the black part just to kind of outline it there, nothing too thick. And then I'm going to take a little bit more white paint and just add some little crackly lines on the inside just to give it some kind of interesting dimension there. As you can see, that's happened there. I set that aside to dry. Now it's dry. And here we go. I take some Puzzle Saver. You could also use Mod Podge. You could use polyacrylic, anything that seals and sticks. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm gonna put some glitter on the back side of the eye just for some dimension. I know a lot of people don't like glitter, but I have a huge collection, so I'm just gonna use it up. And now you've got this eyeball. So here we go. We've got this clay. It's a modeling clay. This is an air dry clay. So it's kind of fragile when it's done, to be honest with you. If I were going to make jewelry, I would use Sculpey, this special kind of Sculpey that's for jewelry, but this is just modeling clay. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to make a rather large oval, much larger than the rock itself. And now I'm going to take some tin foil. I've crunched it up a little bit. And this is just regular kitchen foil. I'm going to set it down and I put the eye on top of that. And I'm going to seal that in there. And the reason I do that is so that you can't see the clay. And once you look in the eye, you'll be able to see a nice shimmer in there. It's really cool. So now I'm just, if you remember from elementary school, making little serpents with your Play-Doh. That's all I'm doing is making a little serpent. And I'm just putting it on the top of the eyeball and sealing it in with my finger. I'm going to do one for the bottom, and that's just going to keep the eye in there so that it doesn't pop out. And curling it, because why not? Little flourishes here and there, pinching it, pushing it down. Now you'll notice I use a really high-tech tool throughout this video. It's a toothpick, and I'm just taking that toothpick and I'm smushing the clay down so that it kind of holds everything in place there. And now I'm just kind of going on there. Now you can see this air dry clay on the side here. I took it out of a Ziploc bag, and you'll notice that there's also a wet paper towel wrapped around it, and that's to keep it wet when I store it, because you don't want it to get dry because it's air dry clay. So I make a couple more little serpents, one for the top, one for the bottom. I just put those on there, and just for some dimension and extra clay, who knows, whatever, it's all good. Now I'm going to take my clay and I'm going to make 5 little balls. And these little balls I'm going to form into the scales that go around the eye. So I'm going to do the bottom side first. And the bottom side will be smaller than the top. And I don't want all of the scales to be the same size. I want them to be smaller the closer they are on the inside of the eye. And as they move out, they get bigger. So I start with the biggest one on the outside. I place it there, I just press it into the clay. I do the same thing. Now I don't spend too much time at this moment trying to make these perfect because you're still going to be doing a lot of messing with it. So, you don't have to take all that time to make it perfect, just put them on there. And then you'll notice I take some clay and I actually put some on the back and then mold it all together. And the reason that I do that is just to make it more sturdy, more, as sturdy as possible. Again, this is air dry clay. This particular clay tends to crack as it dries too. If I were going to be making these to sell, I would definitely use like a more expensive, type air dry clay. And like I said, if I was going to make jewelry with them, I would use the jewelry making Sculpey. But, just kind of pinching it here, doing a couple little things there just to make sure it's all, you can see me with that high-tech toothpick, just really getting in there, sculpting it out. And now I'm just going to fill in right where the eye meets the eye socket there, because I don't want big gaps in there. So I'm just going to fill that in, making it look all kind of nice. Yeah, no problem. Again, don't spend a ton of time making it perfect because you've still got a bunch of stuff to do. So now I'm taking these little balls here and I'm going to put them on the side of the eye. I don't know what these are. I would say, I don't know that dragons actually have these, but then, we're talking about dragons here. So my dragon has these and I'm going to put them on there. So I put 3 on the outside of the eye And I'll just put one. Maybe I'll paint them a different color and make them really sparkly and jazzy. Who knows? Who knows how it goes? Doesn't matter. We'll figure it out at the time when it comes. Now I'm going to repeat the process and make the scales for the top of the eye, like the big, beautiful eyelashes, if you will. And these ones are going to be a little bit bigger than the ones on the bottom. And again, they're bigger on the outside of the eye, and then as you move into the center of the eye, towards like where your nose would be, they get smaller. Okay, so I put those there. I kind of twist them and tweak them a little bit, pat them down, and then of course, like I had done before, I add the clay to the back just to make sure that we're just keeping it as sturdy as possible. Yep, get in there with that toothpick, and yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to do some of the detail work, so I'll bring it a little bit closer. Aha! So I take that toothpick and all I'm doing is just scratching, and I'm not really using any particular pattern. As you can see, I'm just kind of roughing it up a little bit. If you would imagine what a close-up of a dragon might look like, I would imagine his skin's a little bit rough. He probably doesn't, use a whole lot of good facial cream or anything like that, so it's probably looking a little scaly and dry. So I just take my toothpick and I scratch it up. And it's okay if there's little tiny pieces of clay here and there. As it dries, those are just going to be able to flake right off. So I wouldn't worry about those too much. You can even use your fingernails if you've got them to get in there and smooth things out, twisting, tweaking, doing the whole thing. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I put my initials in the back because why not? JK, Jessica Hutt. And then that's it. You just set it aside to dry. Of course, you wrap your clay back up in the wet paper towel, put it in the bag, seal it up nice. And I just want to thank you guys for coming and watching. And I hope you guys get to try this. And definitely come back and see me for part 2, painting your dragon eye.